thought it was just a short adventure. The last cave expedition before Thanksgiving. A journey underground in just a few hours to relive the thrill of that exploration. But he doesn't know that. This seemingly innocuous nostalgic journey, it's going to be a terrifying fight to the death. A struggle that pushed him to the brink of human limits. This is today's cut. The Wit class once again takes you to relive the rivers and lakes, back to cave exploration rescue event. Beneath the dusty plains of Utah. Hidden a building called Jian. The underground labyrinth of Goyue Cave, interwoven by narrow and winding passages. Through the cold and unforgiving strata. This is a cave, where explorers challenge themselves. They are almost at the tip of the pen. Crawling through narrow cracks, fighting nature with courage is the most stifling structure of information. But he's also a place not to be wrong. Once the Emperor locks you tightly, never let go. John Jones is no novice. He has explored the cave many times. Drill through a confined space. Feel the excitement of conquering nature's obstacles. But this time is different. This time, a bad choice turns maneuver into fear. A false path leads to a fatal error. In the suffocating darkness, his body was twisted and trapped. John realizes a damaging truth. He may never get out alive. For nearly 27 hours, he struggles with gravity. Fight the pain, pulling with despair. At the same time, the rescue team is also in a race against time, trying to bring him back to the surface. But sometimes, no matter how hard you fight, how firm it has been, finally won. This is a story about a man's love of adventure, how it turned into the story of his worst nightmare. This is a story about hope, the story of suffering and eventual surrender to the multitude of nature. But please note, once you understand Jian, what really happened in the cave, you may never see it the same way again. The earth beneath my feet, under the sun-kissed plains of Utah. Hidden an underground labyrinth. A place where explorers can push their limits. The ground is just a peace, quiet and unassuming land, surrounded by rolling hills and vast skies. No trace. The elephant shows that there has been danger or tragedy here, but just below the surface. Carved out of rock formations. It's a place that's both beautiful and cold. Nuts Still Cave. This cave, it was discovered by local cave explorers in 1960. It was quickly recognized as a natural adventure paradise, attracting those who dare to go deep underground. Unique rock formations and narrow passages in caves make him in Judea occupy a place in many underground systems in other states. Unlike those broad, a cave that allows light and sound to reverberate freely. The net swims back to the narrow cave. The nose is even suffocating. A series of curved tunnels meander through the rock formations. Only one person can pass through. He's not the kind of cave that welcomes visitors. It forces you to compress, wriggling and crawling in the dark, muddy passage. For cave explorers, it's a trial. It's where the challenge is the reward. The most famous parts of the cave has a harmful name, like the Way of Birth and the Colored Devourer, are notorious for being extremely narrow. Imagine that. You have to go on your stomach. The arms are clamped to the sides of the body. The walls are pressed against the sides of your body. The smooth limestone surface is coated with a thin layer of sticky mud. Every move is an uphill battle. A wrong twist, An inappropriate gesture. You get stuck. Caught firmly by the pressure of the Earth's core. The air inside the nut putty cave is heavy. Suffocating. The smell of damp earth. Attached to the skin. Mixed with sweat and dust. Make every breath heavy and laborious. When you get far enough into the cave, the complete and impenetrable temple of darkness, light is swallowed. Silence oppresses the heart. Over the years, Nut Glow Cave. It has long been regarded as a cave enthusiast's dream destination. It's those who are brave. The testing ground for the designers of nature's harshness. However, beyond his exciting life, it gets darker. A more somber history. This cave. Many times it trapped the unwary explorer. Some people underestimate the complexity of caves. Finally got stuck and couldn't get out. Before John Jones stepped in. Nuts swim back to the cave. Rescue operations were triggered multiple times in 2004. Only 5 years before John's deadly expedition. 2 teenagers are trapped in a cave. In the narrowest passage. They are lucky. After hours of hard work, the rescue team finally rescued them. That amazing experience led to the opening of the cave. Extensive discussion of safety in the exploration community. It also prompts reflection. Cave. Should the most dangerous areas remain open? Despite the dangers, the thrill and excitement of conquering this cave seems more attractive. The explorers still challenge the nuts and swim back to the cave. Complex maze. They believe that as long as they are well prepared, experienced, you can ensure safety, but there's no denying it. Caves do not distinguish between experts and amateurs. Once the earth holds you tight, no matter how cautious you are, how skilled, fate can also come to an abrupt end. Letting the nuts swim back to the cave is particularly dangerous. It's the deception of his channel. Those seemingly spacious tunnels may be suddenly narrowed without any artistic conception. Become a suffocating gap. Those seemingly easy paths may trap you in a position where you can't turn back. The problem is not just the size of the space, but also his unpredictable bending and tilting. Just caught a limb or torso. It's paralyzing. For many people, it is this danger that constitutes attraction. Conquest and national tour. It means conquering fear. Facing extremes is not. Means you have to crawl forward. Through those passages named after pain. The way of birth. Going through it is like being crushed by a stone. Or the boy devourer. It seems to devour the fools who dare to challenge him. John seems to understand the risks. He had heard the stories. But for him, not swimming back to the cave is more than just a challenge. It is he who retouches the way to a long-lost self. Childhood. He explored the cave with his siblings, finding freedom and excitement in the underground world. Now as an adult, he longed to regain that spirit of adventure, sharing with my brother and friends. But the nuts swim back to the cave, no longer the cave of those childhood memories. He is narrower, darker, and deadlier. He doesn't care about your nostalgia. I'm not impressed by your skills or experience. He is silent and indifferent, waiting for those who dare to underestimate him. And on that day in November 2009, John Jones became the last casualty of this cave, forever buried in the passage that betrayed him. John Jones was more than just a thrill seeker. He is a husband who loves his wife deeply, the man who is about to become the father of 2 children. He was a medical student who studied medicine day and night, striving for the future in order to help others. He was 26 years old. There's a whole life ahead, full of ambition, love, and family hope. By November 2009, John hasn't moved in years. His center of gravity: to build a stable life with his wife Emily and prepare for the birth of a second child. When Thanksgiving is approaching, he and his family returned to Utah to be reunited with their loved ones. This was supposed to be a relaxing time, a respite from the stress of medical school. Just then, and an idea struck him. Why not revisit childhood memories? Why don't you go back to your busy life? Experience another adventure. He's not looking for danger, just looking for some excitement, to bond with my brother Josie and a few friends. And the nuts swim back to the cave. It seems that Wen is the choice. He's close at hand, familiar, famous enough, can pose real challenges. The atmosphere that day was relaxed and cheerful. They're ready to go. Get your helmet ready, headlamp, gloves, and knee pads. It's all about going through the cave, prepared for difficult terrain. Laughter in the car. The autumn air is fresh. They speak of the trends of yesteryear, just kidding and guessing who will be timid to quit first. When they reached the nut and swam back to the cave, the surrounding scenery is quiet and peaceful. No sign of an impending nightmare. The entrance is just a little hole into the darkness, almost friendly. For Joel, it was like stepping back in time. He is ready to prove to himself. The spirit of adventure is still there. Even if you don't practice for years, in exchange for countless exams and staying up late, he can still face challenges. They slowly entered the cave. Headlamps draw bright beams of light in the darkness, guide them through the original passage. They excitedly cross the familiar route. The butcher looks down and squeezes his body through the narrow gap. Boom, slippery. The air is heavy, but excitement makes you forget everything. John walks confidently at the forefront, although the muscles are tense, but he was determined to prove that he was still competent. They joke about it. Hearing channel. The way of birth. Boy devourer. Walk carefully through each area. This was supposed to be just a quick trip. A few hours of underground memory tour. Then you can go back to your loved ones. Enjoy a warm Thanksgiving dinner. As they go deeper and deeper, there was a sense of pride in John's heart. Although I haven't exercised in years, he can still keep up with the rhythm. His brother Josie was close behind. Hit and encourage him to keep going. That moment, the stress of medical school seems to have completely disappeared. What he doesn't know is, the cave has already set a trap, waiting for them. When they came to a fork in a passage, John made a decision. He wanted to keep exploring, so they chose a downward sloping channel. He thinks this road will be more spacious. Area connected. The passage looks good. Although it is narrow, it will not be impossible to pass through. He moved forward without hesitation. Lie on the ground. Slowly squeeze your body into a gradually tightening space. Josie called from behind. Ask him if he is sure the road can move. But John is confident, unwavering. He reassured Josie that it was okay. The front will open up soon. However, as the channel becomes narrower, John's movements began slowly and cautiously. His arms were clamped to his sides. Headlamps cast long on smooth, muddy rock walls. Long shadow. Just a little uncomfortable at first. Then you start to feel oppressed. And then, without warning, he felt his chest being squeezed tightly. The passage becomes narrower. He can't move on. Panic flashed at the edge of my mind, but he forced himself to calm down. Tell yourself that you just need to adjust your posture. He exhales carefully. Let the chest as much as possible. Zoom out and try to twist your body to keep going, but unable to move at all. In that instant, a cold reality comes to mind. He's trapped, completely and irretrievably stuck in place. His head is facing down at an angle of almost 70 degrees, body covered with limestone and mud, clamped into an iron pliers that cannot escape. He can't move forward, can't go back. I can't even turn my head to look at my brother behind me. John, are you stuck? Josie has worn panic at the feast. No longer laugh easily. Yeah, I can't move. John squeezed out a few words with difficulty. The sound was almost inaudible by the cave walls. I'm stuck badly. Josie fought back her fear, trying to stay sane. He moved to near the entrance of the passage, trying to grab John's leg, but the angle is too tricky. No force at all. Even if he can pull, John's body is also stuck too tightly. Deadlifts only cause damage. Josie takes a deep breath. Force yourself to calm down. He knew that if he lost control, John will also collapse. That must not happen. Hold on, let's find someone to rescue you. He tried his best to sound steady. John didn't answer. His entire attention was focused on his breathing. Try to keep your chest up and down, despite the heavy pressure. The compression on the ribs is unbearable. Like a cave, it's squeezing life out of his body inch by inch. Realizing that you can't solve the problem alone, Josie scrambled back to the front chamber. Tell others about the situation. His voice trembled. They quickly made a distress call. The operator assured them that rescue teams were on their way. But the sinking feeling in Kyoxi's heart lingers. It will take at least a few hours for rescue personnel to arrive. And I can only watch helplessly as my brother is trapped in the dark. Congestion of the head. Breathing minute by minute. The air in the passage becomes heavier, as if it was on John's body. His mind was spinning fast. This was supposed to be just a short and exciting adventure. A small gap before Thanksgiving. But now he is trapped and unable to move. I'm in a nightmare that I can't wake up from. And deep down in his heart, a terrifying fear began to take root. The fear that slowly eats away at the soul. Whispering in my ear, maybe this time you really can't get out. After receiving a distress call, the first responders arrived more than an hour later. Arrive at the nets and mail them back to the cave. They are the most experienced explorers in the region, personnel and rescue experts. Treated at narrow corners many times, emergencies in a dangerous space. But even they, when looking at the challenges ahead, also shocked and heavy. They were very careful with their equipment. Through the winding passage, transporting equipment piece by piece into a confined space. And when they finally arrived at John's place, what you see is unacceptable. John's body is severely twisted, just stuck between rocks. The head is facing down at an angle of almost 70 degrees, facial blood accumulation, Breathing is shallow and labored. A rescue worker tried to be as calm as possible. Talk to him in a soothing tone. Hey, John, my name is Sister Sue. We're here to save you. Hold on, okay? John's weak and labored reply. The sound machine is inaudible. Chest hurts. I can't breathe. Susie bit her lip. And another rescuer, exchanging a worried look. They know long inversion is putting tremendous pressure on John's body. Blood keeps pouring into the brain. The lungs are difficult to expand. Every second counts. The first problem is just a thought. They couldn't pull it out. The channel is too narrow. Any pull will only hurt or let him sink deeper. They had to find another way. Carefully. After evaluating John's situation and channel structure, Captain Sean made a suggestion. Building a pulley system. And they planned to attach a series of anchor points to the boom. Mechanical superiority through ropes and pulleys. Gradually pull John out. Although this method is complex and dangerous, but it's the only possibility. Rescuers communicate by radio. Report the plan to the ground. Request more equipment and manpower. While building the anchor, they kept talking to John. Maintain his ceremony. Sean asked him about his family. Let him focus on things other than the severe chest pain. John talks intermittently about his wife, Emily. Self-interest with daughter. Said he was looking forward to this Thanksgiving. Take a break from academic pressure. He also said how much he was looking forward to seeing the coming born son. And outside the cave, a small group of people has gathered. Relatives and friends. Local residents are watching the intense rescue. Emily stands at the entrance of the cave. Hold the phone tightly. Although the shoulders are wrapped in a blanket, hands still shaking. He wouldn't leave, even if the weather is cold, waiting for endless family prayers. Comfort each other. But everyone feels the growing fear. Over time, rescue becomes more urgent. More teams are arriving. Bring in extra equipment and personnel. Healthcare workers are prepared for all possibilities. Because if John is really rescued, he's going to need first aid. The interior of the cave is small and complex. Every step comes with risk. The pulley system is gradually taking shape. The ropes and buckles are fixed to the rock wall like a spider's web. Rescuers double-checked each connection point. Also for them to know, any mistake can lead to disaster. When everything is ready, Sean walks into the mason where John wipes his forehead. Come on, John. We're going to start pulling you out. This process will be slow. It might hurt a little, but you have to hold on, okay? John nodded weakly. Do your best to be ready. The team starts pulling the rope. Warren's rattle. John's body moved a little bit. This moment gave Sean hope. Maybe they can really make it. But suddenly, the rocks clicked ominously. A grass point is loose. The whole system wobbles under intense tension. Warren slammed into the rock wall. Sean cursed in a low voice, hasty stabilization system. And then John shouted in pain to stop. Stop, he's panting. This pull made him fall deeper. The chest is tightly pressed. His tears fell. It was tears of pain and despair. The faith of the rescue workers was shaken in an instant. Sean's hands are shaking. He tried to steady his mood. Order a readjustment of the contradiction. They can't make the mistake again. But the reality is becoming clear. Gravity is their greatest enemy, and they're fighting a losing battle. During a brief interruption, one of the team members handed the phone to Sean. It's Emily. In this chaos, they knew that John needed to hear his voice. Sean carefully placed the phone in John's ear. John, Emily's voice was full of fear and choking. Can you hear me? John's lips moved. Squeeze out a faint whisper. I heard it. Dear, I love you. You are strong. You must persevere. Please, his life is shaking. And Sean had to get out of sight. Suppressed inner collapse. Sorry, I love you. Tell strength and baby for me. John's voice grew weaker. Emily is sobbing on the other end of the phone. He comforted softly, but so powerless in this hopeless situation. After the phone is hung up, rescuers clean up again. They reinforce the anchor points. Adjust the angle. Hope to fight for John. Take even a few centimeters of movement space. A few hours passed. The night is getting dark. The team is exhausted. Take turns resting, full of guilt and powerlessness. Finally, after nearly 24 hours of continuous effort, they were ready to make one last attempt. The new system is more robust. The grass point cuts into the rock wall as firmly as possible. Sean sends a signal. The team starts to pull slowly. 1 centimeter by 1 will John's body, trying to pull outward. The rope goes out, but John's body didn't budge. Rock refuses to let go. The earth is held like pliers. Suddenly, a dull breaking sound sounded. A main hair fracture hit a rock wall, triggers the entire channel to vibrate. System collapse. John's body sinks deeper again. The passage fell silent. Only the heavy gasps of the rescuers were left. Faint gasps with John on and off. Sean wiped the mud from his face, and they realized there was nothing they could do. No equipment, no plan. There is no hope. A healthcare worker pulls Sean and whispers. The words are like knives. John's vital signs are rapidly deteriorating. Weak breathing. Pulse machine is not entangled. They all understand. The end is near. And all they can do, just accompany him on the last journey. The cave has taken him for itself. Despite all the efforts, wisdom and persistence, the Emperor still refuses to release him. This final conclusion, like a mountain pressing down on everyone's heart, suffocated and heavy. Over time, the cave is getting colder, more and more quiet. Rescue workers are doing their best. Makes John feel warm and company. They spoke softly. Tell him they're still working on it. Although everyone knows it. The end is a foregone conclusion. John's breathing is getting harder and harder. The response is also more vague. His body had been there for only 24 hours. The physical cost is irreversible. Organs start to fail. Sean leaned over and tapped John on the shoulder. Whisper encouragement. Eyes with tears. Finally, in the early morning of November 25, 2009, John Jones quietly immersed himself. An EMT checks the pulse. No response. They called his name. Tap him on the shoulder, but his body didn't move. Lying quietly in the suffocating darkness. A rescue worker is unable to shed tears. Just say he's gone. The radio carried the bad news to the ground. Outside the cave, Emily fell into her father's arms. Crying pierces the cold night. All rescue personnel will remain in place. Chen's head is written all over his face. This is more than just a failed rescue. It's a collective sign. After confirming John's death, focus turns to recovery of remains. But after many evaluations and field studies, they painfully came to the conclusion: rescuing the body is almost impossible, and it will seriously threaten the lives of others. John is stuck too deep. The cave passage is too narrow, too dangerous. And finally, people decided to go nuts. The cave will become John, the final resting place of Jones. Engineers close the hole. Make it a permanent goal. A commemorative plaque was later erected at the entrance of the cave, commemorating John's life and tragic passing. But for many people, this tragedy also served as a cautionary tale. Nature's underground world is never forgiving. The story of John Jones. There are still those who dare to explore from the inner earth. He reminds people, no matter how well prepared, how experienced, when the environment itself becomes the enemy, safety is never guaranteed. In that dark and silent underground, all hope and rescue was lost. Is to leave a cold reminder. How ruthless is the force of nature? Beneath the surface, in the stifling silence, John Jones sleeps. He is a symbol of human courage and an eternal wake-up call about the price of ambition. That's the end of today's video. See you next time.